Welcome to the all-new updated ShineGreymon gameplay guide for BT21. In our first matchup, we're facing off against Galacticmon, which also has a lot of new support with especially like the crazy combo of Ragnarok Cannon trashing all of our security. We did go first, so we felt like we want to take our time a little bit because we have that red component of having to gather all our pieces, so that I want to make sure that I'm seeing my Marcuses. I want to use the memory gauge and play as efficiently as possible, not to give my opponent too much memory and pretty much choke them at one every turn back to back, just to slow down their plays, and that they're gonna have to come out, push out, and commit to it. But the thing is, we have a lot of removal when it comes to DP reduction and even deletion effects as well, so that we can keep the opponent's board in control and in check as much as we can. We don't want to let them rack up into a Galacticmon so quickly, but you guys can see they can pretty much like go all the way straight to a Destromon already, getting rid of our initial stack, and the next turn they're pretty much ready to go into a Galactic if they have one in their hand. So with the amount of memory we have to work with, I'm pretty much gonna have to build in the back. I was contemplating of just playing that Rise, and then I could actually just give them Marcus Rush and then I can alliance together and actually get rid of the Destro there looking back. But I felt like I wanted to draw more cards, I want to find my line pieces, I want to go into Shine Grey eventually and utilize my Marcus together to get rid of everything and also just give the opponent at one. So it looks like we did get maybe a little bit lucky there, thankfully, that they didn't have a Galactic to get into just yet, because now we have the opportunity to actually come out and climb into our 6 and utilize the new Shine Grey, try and get rid of both bodies that they have on the board. By going into the new BT21 Shine Grey, we can pretty much delete something that's 9k, we can raid, and we can pierce together with comboing with the new Marcus, which is a pretty good setup with the combinations of both these cards together. So we're going to go ahead and attack. As we attack, we get to suspend the Marcus, give the extra 3k buff to the Shine Grey, give something minus 3k, which we're going to go for the Destromon, and then with the when attacking effect, we get to delete something that's 9k or lower, raid over the remaining target that is the 1k Venmon, resolving the when attacking procedures there, and then pierce for 2 checks into their security, so that we're establishing a lot of momentum and a lot of control here, and we can easily just put them back to 1 again, finishing the turn with a physical training and setup, and hopefully maybe the next turn or following, we can pretty much seal the deal and win the game. We don't want them to get into Galactic. We have to find ways to stop them as much as we can during the entire course of the game, because once they get into Galacticmon, it's almost indestructible. It's very difficult to out it, and games become more grindy, so we want to capitalize our aggression as early and as quickly as we can to win. That's what Shine Grey does well. That's what Marcus does well. The easiest ways to pretty much bring them out and as quickly as possible to chunk down their security together. This is not the most ideal stack that I'm working with, honestly, but I just wanted to showcase you guys how the synergy of the new cards work very well together. We're going to repeat the same combo, getting rid of that Snatchmon off the board by deleting it with ShineGreymon's effect when attacking, and then suspending the Marcus once again, trying to deal as much damage to their security while we still can. And now, continuously, like I said, repeat the same thing. Put them back to 1 memory and give them almost no possibilities to play, which will help us pretty much secure a win con in the next turn. They're going to go for a Digicross hard play with the Destromon, getting rid of our Marcus, which is unfortunate, but I think at this point, we got the most value off of it, so that we pretty much start our turn with 4 memory, since they Digicross for 5 cost in total. And here we can just kind of see, okay, what's a safe way to go around this? We have so many physical trainings, might as well use them, climb up and try to take the opportunity to draw as many cards as I can, and see what I can find other pieces to maybe go for a burst mode Marcus trash to finish the game off. You guys can see how crazy the amount of draw power we have in our stacks because of the Geo Grey inherited effect, the Agu, and the Nikoromon. As soon as we suspend our Marcus, we get to further DP reduce them and gain a memory as we climb into a second Shine Grey stack. I'm really just trying to find the burst mode to go for the game winning play. So by going into it, you guys can see how explosive this deck is as we suspend, swing with the Marcus with Rush, trashing the security, winning the game. For the second game, we're facing off against the Adventure deck, and I decided to switch gears a little bit to try out the red base instead of yellow base to see which one I feel like I like more. And in a deck profile video, I'll talk more about which I like more and with the pros and cons of each, but generally the differences are very slim. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and start off first. We're going to Evo for 1 on top of the Agu just to give the opponent only 1 memory to work with. We're not having the best hand, but I felt like, you know what, this is still workable in the beginning. So I decided to get rid of the Palmon by hard dropping the 5-cost Marcus so that I can gain a memory by pushing out that Agumon, so then I can give again the opponent 2 memory to work with. And against an adventure deck in the early stages, giving them 2 memory is actually fairly difficult because they're going to have to hard drop a 3-cost Tamer like that, and they're going to miss the opportunity to utilize the 2 memory if they don't Digivolve in the back to cycle for more draws. Now we're going to continue to ramp up. I decided to use the Scramble to Digivolve into Geogray because I have a feeling that once it gets removed, I actually want to play out the Agumon, and I can potentially stack a card as well at the same time, but I really want to search to find a level 5. That is what I'm missing right now, and if I don't find it soon enough, the opponent is going to start ramping up like crazy, going into the level 5s and alliancing with a ton of attacks with equal amount of aggression or even more against us, and I don't want to fall too far behind against them. The general way of how I play ShineGrey is kind of like a win fast, otherwise you lose fast kind of approach. So I want to make sure that I can get there quickly. I got to find whatever I can do to make sure I can match with the momentum or even try to establish greater tempo than the opponent can. But it looks like they're going to hard drop down the Angewomon, reducing its play cost pretty much for 5 so that their Angemon can Digivolve into another Angewomon for free, and they're going to ping pong off each other because the Angewomon now is going to let the other Angewomon Digivolve into a Wargreymon, which is going to delete us the promo one, and the opponent also gets to give something Alliance and make an attack. This is where it's pretty much going to be 3 checks, and they're thinking whether if they want to go for it or not. If they had an extra body on the side, they can pretty much go for 4 crazy checks in one go. So it looks like they're going to go for it, which they are going to swing with the Wargreymon off of Angewomon's effect, alliance together for 3 checks. And this is where it gave us perfectly everything we needed, which we got very, very lucky towards the end. We're going to use that Scramble. We found a level 5. That's our only one in target that we want to grab and make sure we have at the start of our turn. Gonna push out the Geogray, and then we can now utilize and start Digivolving. There are 2 ways for me to do this. I'm contemplating on either using the delay of training to reduce my Digivolution cost, or I'm gonna hard drop one of the Marcuses so that my Geogreymon, the new one from BT21, can instantly Digivolve into Rise Gray for free. So I am gonna go ahead and do that. And then before doing so, I get to also suspend down one of my own Marcuses, which I will suspend the Memory Setter one to help me gain a memory. And then now I Digivolve into Rise Gray. Rise Gray is going to turn the new Marcus into a rush attacker, but I'm not going to choose the attack just yet. Now I'm going to use the offense training to go into the old BT12 Shine Gray, which I have enough DP reductions to get rid of that Angewomon on board to play around the opponent's ace. And now all I have to deal with is that promo Wargreymon, which I should be able to get rid of it with many of my other effects along together with it too. I'm going to use the second delay to now go into another Geogray. Would have been nice if we had it earlier, because then when we hard drop the Marcus, both those Geograys can have Digivolve for free. But now I'm going to go into Rise Gray, play out another Marcus, gain memory, minus 3k once more once again. And my plan is to use my other DP reduction effects on the promo Wargray so that my Marcus can swing over it, giving itself extra 3000 DP. And we also gain another extra 3000 DP thanks to ShineGreymon's effect. And we can actually alliance together, which is going to pierce for a total of 3 checks with 18k DP, which even the Omnia X in that security is not enough to stop us. And this is also the moment where we're actually able to gather everything we needed perfectly to secure our game-winning play right here by going into the classic burst mode, play out Marcus, swing, trash, 12k rush into security, and finish it off with the burst mode on the side. For this game, we're facing off against Imperialdramon, the blue-green version, which is still a relatively strong deck, and we're going to show you guys how I try to win with Marcus and ShineGrey together with our Pro Tag power. We are starting off first, and the reason why I'm always trying to Digivolve the Agumon for the 1 cost instead of 0 is just really try to give the opponent 1 memory to work with and slow the game down, and again, really just playing around the memory gauge as much as I can. I'm thinking if I really need to address this Wormmon at this moment. Now, the thing is, it's not going to get bounced back to hand. It's just going to stay on the board, and I feel like in the following turn, they're not going to be able to DNA anyways. So they go for a chip, which really gave us a tremendous amount of value of having the BT12 Marcus, and this is where we're ready to go because they hard drop Davis and Ken, giving us 3 memory, which we have quite a decent amount of work with. I'm going to go ahead and swing with the BT12 Marcus so that we can Digivolve into the new Rise Gray for free. Unfortunately, I would rather find the older Rise Gray so then I can immediately play down another Marcus that I have, because then I can really ramp up there, and you guys can see I have actually quite a number of Marcuses in my hand. but that's totally okay. We're gonna have to work with whatever we can with our stack in this particular moment, and I'm just trying to draw cards off of the Agumon Inheritable, and I want to chip away with a Koro so I can draw cards off the egg as well at the same time. This current position is a little bit awkward for me because I don't want that Wormmon to stay, because then they can easily just Digivolve into their level 4s and then climb up from there. And I don't want to give them too much memory to work with as well, just in case they can climb up if they have all their pieces, or if they don't, they kind of try to find it and then possibly go for some crazy combos the following turn. Which is why I decided to just hard evo into the BT12 Shine in the end, just to get rid of that Wormmon. But you guys can see with double Davis Ken, they can still just play out 2 rookies and go for this combo and pretty much find what they need and still DNA the way they need to, which technically didn't really matter how much memory we give them no matter in the end. The other line of play that I actually could have went for in the previous turn was to just hard drop the 5-cost Marcus, just to get rid of that Wormmon, just because I felt like that 1 memory wouldn't have mattered too much for the Imperial player at this particular moment anyways. At least it ensures us to have 3 memory to play with in the following turn so that we can reset up and sort of reestablish a even stronger board for a bigger clapback then. They're going to go for 2 checks here, essentially with jamming, drawing the cards that they need, and as they get into Dragon Mode, putting us down to 1 memory. The position for us is looking not the greatest, but I felt confident that they can't really end us the next turn just yet, unless if they really play out all their rookies, find everything they need, and are able to re-DNA all over again. So I felt like another priority was to really get rid of that rookie, because that Wormmon does bounce back to their hand, giving them a free search. And this is where then I realized, okay, you know what? This is the right time. Let's use the 5-cost Marcus, get rid of it, give them the 3 memory, just because they can't end us just yet, unless if they go into like a fighter mode plus maybe an Omni X to finish off, then there's nothing much we can do from there anyways. So they're gonna go ahead and chip away at our security. That's a fine for us. And the next turn, our Shine Grey can pretty much start attacking, our Marcus can start attacking, we have 3 memory to work with, we can potentially climb up very quickly. And as you guys can see, that the opponent seems to have ran out of their rookie gas for this particular moment, which is why they're going to go for boost to search, and they feel they might be in a decent position. But what they don't know is we can potentially finish them off at 4-0 security and swing for game in the following turn if we find everything we need. Now, generally it is a red deck, so it's always that if we have the pieces kind of question and debate, but we are just going to go ahead with it. And now I'm going to Digivolve to thinking of which Geo-Gray I want to. BT12 I don't really need to because I can't play a Marcus for free off of it. I can go into BT13 and hopefully my last security was one and really high roll from there like crazy. Or if I go into the new one, which I don't really have an intention to play out another Marcus to really evo for free from there either. So I went for the BT13 in the end and just took a quick peek at the security and put it back, which basically there was no Marcus. We're going to swing with the BT12 Marcus, go into Rise Gray. I accidentally gained a memory, which I got ahead of myself because with the Rise Gray, I'm actually supposed to play one of these Marcuses out, and the Marcus is going to let me suspend one of my own Marcuses, and I was going to gain a memory off the 5-cost one anyway, so I corrected that there anyways. So now we suspend this Marcus, minus another 3k, minus 2k off the Agu, and the Dragon Mode is pretty much a total of minus 5k at this moment. We can't get rid of it with all the DP reductions, but this was intentional on how I sort of addressed it. Because if they have Fighter Mode Ace, they can only really counter one attack here. So they can either bottom deck our BT12 Shine Grey, which will give the Marcus less checks to finish the game off. But if they do that, you guys can see we have the piece to go into the new BT21 Shine Grey, which will actually pop the Dragon Mode, and I'm not even worried about partition because I can get rid of the rest of the bodies as a follow-up. Now, if they bomb deck the Marcus, then I simply just go into the new BT21 Shine Grey anyways, and if they get rid of the Rise Grey stack, I'm threatening against them that there's potentially a Shine Grey burst mode that I can easily go on top of the Shine Grey, and then I'm going to swing with the Marcus into their fighter mode, which will give us Ace Overflow, and they don't even get to partition. So it's a very tricky position for the opponent to really be in, and you guys can see they're trying to calculate and contemplate on what the possible plays are here as our follow-up, and the thing is they don't know exactly what we have in our hand. The thing is, I did mention I could get into a Shine Grey burst mode. Well, the funny thing is I actually don't have one, But the thing is, you can always play it as if you did. So in the end, they decide to bottom deck our BT12 Shine Grey because they may have thought we have gotten to our burst mode. And the funny thing is we actually eventually find one too. But anyways, now this gives us the perfect timing because now I can go into the new Shine Grey. Shine Grey is going to pop a 9k or lower, which the fighter mode is reduced by 5k. So it's pretty much exactly where we want it to be. They're going to partition the two bodies out, and then we find the burst mode off of that, which is pretty crazy because we pretty much find all our pieces that we needed to actually go and secure the win. We're going to swing with it. We're going to suspend the new Marcus to give it extra 3000 DP and also piercing. We're going to pop something right at the same time and gain another 3k off of his own effect, dealing 2 damage. And afterwards, we go into burst mode, play out the Marcus once again, swing, trash the last security, which is an absolute crazy way to win the game. Don't forget to grab the Destined Partners playmat and the status counters on the AVAULT store, which are perfect accessories to help assist you guys while playing the game. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you in the next video. This is AVAULT, signing out.